This video covers everything we did in class today on Monday, March 21st in 7th grade math. The first thing you need to do is open up the ClassKick link that is right above this video. You'll want to go ahead and complete the do now on slide 1. So pause this video and complete the do now on slide 1. So recall our unit on percents way back before winter break. A percent is just a rate per 100. So when we talk about 20% of 100, we know that 20 out of 100 is simply 100%. When we talk about 20% of 50, we know that 20 to 100, so if for every 20 we have 100, is equivalent to some mystery number to 50. We're thinking about the rate per 50 or the percentage. If for every 20 I have 100, I know that for every 50 I have 10, because 50 is half of 100 and 20 is half of 10. You could also think of this on a double number line, which is one common way that we used to solve these problems back when we started off the unit. If you know that on your number line where you have 100%, you're lined up with your total amount, so 100% is 50, you could split your number line into 5 equal groups of percentages. So you could count by 20s, 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%. And then you would end up determining each 20% group in terms of 50. Let me show you how that works. I know that I have 100% and I'm counting by 20s. So I have 20%, I have 40%, I have 60%, and I have 80%. Then, because I know that I've split up my number line into 5 equal groups to count up to 100%, I'm going to do the same thing below. And so I know that I need to count by tens. And I can see that 20% of 50 is 10, 30, 40. Now, when you think about 50%, things are a little bit simpler because 50%, of course, is just half. 50% of 100 is 50, and 50% of 20 is 10. Sometimes the numbers are a little bit more complicated, and drawing an entire double number line isn't going to make a lot of sense. Recall that we can always multiply our whole number times the percentage as a decimal. And saying the percentage as the decimal is saying the same thing as saying the percentage over 100. So for example, if I was looking for 7% of 20, I could simply multiply 20, because that's my whole number, times 7 over 100, because 7 is my percent, and 7 over 100 is the same thing as 0.07. 20 times 7 over 100 equals 1.4. And so I know that that's my final answer. This week's foundational learning target is I can calculate the percent of a number. You'll see more practice questions like this in the Do Now Every Day and also in your homework assignment in Delta Math. For the rest of class today, we were focused on solving an equation written as px plus q or p parentheses x plus q. We didn't hand back our lesson 10 exit ticket yet, but we were able to start lesson 11. And this video is going to focus mostly on the beginning of activity 2. Meet me on slide 3. On slide 3, you'll see a tape diagram that represents an equation. Your instructions are to write a story that could be represented by the tape diagram. So a real-world situation that this tape diagram could represent. Once you write your real-world story, I want you to write an equation that could be represented by the diagram as well. Go ahead and pause this video and take a few minutes to try slide 3. All of our stories might look a little bit different, but what's important to know about this equation is that the entire tape diagram is equal to 24. Then we have three equal groups. In each group, we have one A plus a 2. Three groups of A plus 2. Remember that when you have a 3 hugging the parentheses, that means that you have 3 times A plus 2. Three groups of A and 2. Slide 4 was our main work for today. Question 1 says, Tyler is making invitations to the fair. He has already made some of the invitations, and he wants to finish the rest of them within a week. He's trying to spread out the remaining work to make the same number of invitations each day. Tyler draws a diagram to represent the situation. You can see that in the diagram, you have 122 X's and a 66. Your job is to finish these three sentences. What part of the diagram represents total invitations? What part represents how many invitations he's already made? And what part represents how many days he has to finish? Go ahead and pause this video and finish those three sentences. Notice that the total number of invitations matches the total in the diagram, 122. Tyler has already made 66 invitations, and he has 7 days to make more invitations. We know that he has 7 days because he's splitting the remaining invitations into 7 groups of X. Your last work for today is on slide 5. In question B, you need to figure out how many invitations should Tyler make each day, so each X, to finish his goal within a week. In question C, I want you to write an equation that represents the situation and explain how each part of the situation is represented in your equation. And in part D, I want you to solve the equation. When you finish with slide 5, you're caught up from class today. Your only other step is to make sure that you log on to Delta Math and get started with this week's homework. As always, if you have any other questions, make sure to send me an email.